You're listening to the one news show that keeps you informed on the world around you. This is 41.1 The Info Loop.
How's it going, guys? This is Mikhail Nelson, and you're listening to 41.1 The Info Loop. I got an interesting story from CBC News this time around, so let's check it out. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has told refugee sponsors in Canada who are frustrated by a lack of communication that the federal government must make significant improvements to a system that can be trying for both bureaucrats and immigrants. Trudeau made the comments during a discussion with a small group of Syrian refugees, two sponsors, and CBC Metro Morning host Matt Galloway last week. Piali Roy, who's part of a committee group that sponsored 6 family members to come to Canada, noted that one of them, a single male, had to stay behind in Beirut. Roy told Trudeau that one of the biggest challenges she and the man's family face is the difficulty with getting any information from the government about the file. Trudeau said he heard similar complaints when he was an MP in the Montreal riding of Papineau, where many newcomers settled when they arrived in Quebec. And it comes down to a question of resources. Staff could be tasked with answering questions from refugees and sponsors, or they could be tasked with processing their files, he said. Reverend West Denver echoed concerns about the inability to get clear information from the government about the status of a refugee family. He represents a group of 3 Toronto area churches that was expecting to greet a family of 4 at the airport sometime in February. February came and went, and they are still waiting. The group recently received notice from the government that they could sponsor a replacement family, which they reluctantly agreed to. But then they learned that the original family hadn't been told that they were no longer being sponsored by Denver's group. While he understands that the government doesn't have infinite resources, he suggested that it could establish an office like a refugee ombudsman to communicate with bureaucrats as well as sponsorship groups. Despite the concerns from sponsors, Trudeau noted that while the government would like doing things as smoothly and as efficiently as possible, bringing refugees to Canada from extremely vulnerable situations who may not have all the necessary paperwork is very challenging. While the government needs to ensure that it's supporting refugees and their sponsors, it also needs to be able to say it has covered all bases on the national security front. The government needs to focus on reassuring Canadians that on the level of security, on integration, on all those sorts of things, we have the parameters in place to be able to say, and not just to Canadians so much, but to our neighbors to the south, no, there's no increased risk that we've brought over all these wonderful new people. No increased risk, huh? I wouldn't be so sure about that. Sure, Canada may have been lucky, but look at France. They at least have been attacked twice, at least once in Nice. That I remember for sure. And there was also another attack in Florida at the gay nightclub, which a lot of people would like to deny, but let's face it, the guy pledged his allegiance to ISIS before shooting everybody within that nightclub. And there's always a chance that Canada may be next. Why? Because a lot of people from Syria are also a part of ISIS. And ISIS even said that they would be putting their terrorist members as part of their refugees. So literally, without screening them properly and finding out who is who's an innocent refugee and who is a terrorist, you're practically letting the terrorists in without proper screening. I know Justin Trudeau said he wants to cover all his bases, but to what end? To what end are you covering all your bases? Is it to ensure the safety of your own people? I know you want to accommodate for the refugees, and I have talked about this before, by the way. I know you want to cover your bases, but you have to do it properly, Justin. You have to do it properly, because at any point we may be next. They have already caused problems in Germany, in France, and in America. Who next? Who is going to be next? Is it going to be the UK? Is it going to be Canada? There's always still that possibility as long as we keep bringing in refugees. I know you brought in at least 25,000, if memory serves me correctly, and I know you want to bring in more, but you have to be careful because if they do not integrate properly, Justin Trudeau, it's going to be on you. And not just you, but your entire party, because now the people are sick and tired of these things happening within the West, and it's only a matter of time before they get sick and tired of you and your party. Watch out.